Roberts, who is area vegetable specialist with the Texas Extension Service. And Dr. Roberts, I know a lot of folks may have tomato plants in their yard, and some are wondering right now why they're not perhaps getting more tomatoes than they feel like they should. And I understand that there are some things that they need to watch for very carefully along about this time of the year.
Well, Bob, the tomatoes, most of the tomato varieties are definitely not setting fruits. And the reason is our extremely hot weather. Most of the large fruited varieties and hybrids won't set fruits when the day temperatures get up over 90 to 95 and when the nights don't go down below 70. So we've got a situation where many of the varieties are just producing great big plants. Some of them that are doing this are like your Super Fantastic here, the great big Better Boy in the background, just producing a lot of foliage, and the blossoms come out and then dry up and drop off. Those people that have the varieties Small Fry Hybrid and Presto Hybrid are enjoying tomatoes.
They're small tomatoes, but
right.
They look like there's a lot of them here.
That's right.
Dr. Roberts.
We've got this one. This is Presto Hybrid right here. About a 2-ounce, a small fruit, relatively small fruit, a 2-ounce fruit. And then the Small Fry Hybrid over here, which I picked them by the cluster, and it's producing very reliably right now.
Dr. Roberts, your flavor is still there even though you have a small tomato.
Oh yes, in fact these, generally the smaller fruited tomatoes will have a higher flavor, more concentrated, sweeter, whatever you want to call it, more concentrated flavor than the large ones.
Dr. Roberts, those with larger variety tomatoes that are not producing right now, could we normally expect that if it does get cooler a little bit later on sometime they will start producing fruit?
Yes.
Is there anything they can do to cause them to start producing?
Nothing that's reliable. Some people will prune them, or you've even heard of beating the tomatoes, and sometimes people say they get them to set fruits. They will set fruits if the weather changes. A tomato plant will set a fruit or two if it thinks it's going to die, and during some of this hot weather, some tomatoes, especially if they become, if they're under attack by insects, will produce a few fruits, but they're also under a great deal of stress. That the answer is to get some more tomatoes started, get some more young plants started, and plant a fall crop of tomatoes.
Dr. Roberts, you mentioned insects a moment ago. I understand some of the tomato plants right now, in fact here in the alley garden, we've had an influx of insects there, and can you explain what they were and what the control measures might be?
Yes, Bob. The dry weather, extremely dry weather, and the intense heat has set up conditions that are just right for the spider mite. Little tiny, it's not actually an insect, it's a relative of the spider. Most of the time you don't see the little beast itself, you see the symptoms, which are yellowing of the leaves and the burning of the edges, drying up of the foliage. And by that time, when that occurs, you know that you've got a heavy infestation of the spider mite. The way to handle this and prevent the plants from being completely killed or ruined by the spider mites is to spray with kelthane. The procedure that we use, this kelthane, first of all, is normally not sold by the trade name of kelthane. You have to look for such trade names as spider's mite or something else like that, or mite killer. The active ingredient, though, is the insecticide kelthane. The thing that we do in treating tomatoes is, first of all, pick all of the fruits that are showing any color whatsoever, whether they're just turning at the blossom end, just turning, or whether they're ripe. Get them all off the plants, because once you apply the kelthane, you can't go back and harvest for 7 days. You've got to stay away for 7 days. So what we do is to make up a spray with the kelthane, and we use the make sure and use a very mild detergent or a wetting agent. Use up to between 1/2 and 1 teaspoon of the wetting agent along with the kelthane. And be sure and read the label, of course, for the directions of whatever formulation of kelthane you're using.
This is a form of spreader sticker.
That's right, wetting agent, spreader sticker. The key thing to controlling the spider mites, though, is to is to make sure that that spray gets on the undersides of the leaves, because these little spider mites will build up on the undersides of the leaves, whereas you can seldom, if ever, find them on the top side of the leaf. So we've got some of this kelphane mixed up here, and you can see I've got the nozzle oriented up, and you go in and make sure that you spray the undersides of the leaves. They've got to be wetted because that's where the the little spider mite is working, is feeding. And then since the kelphane kills mostly the adults, and they will produce another generation in about 3 days, you've got to come back, if you have a very serious infestation, in about 3 to 5 days' time. If it's a very light infestation, usually one application will control them. But it's very important to spray the undersides of the leaves because that's where they seem to build up the highest population.
Dr. Roberts, I think you've very well covered here some of the things the folks should watch for in their tomatoes right now, and we'll be talking with you at a later date about yet another subject. And